Around 3 to 4 years ago, GTA 5 and GTA Online had seen their first iceberg video from In Control again. In many years following, people had actually took his example, did the exact same iceberg, being this one right here. It's pretty good. It actually has a lot of great entries on it, but I wanted to do something a little bit different. I was also looking at this iceberg right here. Kind of a convoluted mess if you ask me. I don't know what I'm looking at. So instead, I'm going with this one instead. I think it's pretty good. It doesn't have too many entries, so the video won't be too long, but things are still pretty interesting on the iceberg. And when I cover each one, there's going to be colors at the top left of the screen, green being story mode, red being online, and yellow just being in general for the entire game as a whole. You all know what icebergs are already. If not, there's going to be a description to it in the description, of course. So let's get started with level 1 of this iceberg out of 6. So there are 3 main characters of GTA 5. First up, we have Franklin. He's kind of like the inexperienced one of the group. He's technically like the good guy, if that's how you want to put it. And his main stat is to be good at driving. Next up, we have Michael. He's kind of like the mentor to Franklin, the one who teaches him. He faked his own death. He's in witness protection. And his main stat is supposed to be good at shooting. Lastly, we have Trevor. This is the insane guy in the group. And I would say that he's mentally unstable. He is misunderstood just because of how he's been treated by other characters and how his character actually is just portrayed. But he is Michael's best friend, and his main stat is to be good at flying, since he's like, I think, a retired Air Force pilot or something like that. And GTA Online is an open world crime game. Some people don't really agree with that definition, even though Grand Theft Auto literally has a definition of crime in it, but you know, do what you want. But other ways of playing this game is you can do PvP if you want to do that. You can do griefing to ruin other people's day if you really want to do that as well. You can even do some role playing. So if you're on PC specifically, you can download 5M, which is role playing servers, and it's completely different from GTA Online itself. The Mount Chiliad at a surface level is the highest point in this game, being the tallest mountain, but that's not really why people know this mountain. It has so much mystery behind it with the Mount Chiliad mural, the UFO sightings above it, and just all the Easter eggs that are tied to it. But we will be covering a lot of those later down in this iceberg video. Now the in-game phone has so much going on with it. It has like the contact list to call people, you can message other players, you can run a business through it now if you're in online, but its whole main thing is that you can purchase vehicles through the phone. You can go on the in-game website and just whatever car you want to buy, it most likely will be there. You can also go through all these different other websites that have Easter eggs in them or are just kind of weird. There's so much tied to the in-game phone that if we didn't have it, I don't really know how you'd play this game, to be honest. Old Gen is a very vague entry on this list. I'm not sure what the creator meant by this, but I could presume that they're talking about the first generation of consoles. So on screen you can see that you had the first gen, I guess you can say second gen, and the third gen of GTA. So on Xbox 360 and PS3 when the game released, the graphics were absolutely horrible. You couldn't even read the sign that you see in the picture. It was just garbage. In 2015 when it released on Xbox One, PS4, and PC, the graphics were improved quite a bit, but you still couldn't really read signs that were far away, but it was still a major improvement. And I do believe PC still got graphical changes throughout the years because you can change all the different settings in the game, and it just looks a lot better than consoles. But during, I believe, 2022, when Expanded Enhanced came out, PS5 and Xbox Series X and S had gotten GTA Online, and the graphics were far better. You can just see the noticeable differences. You can actually read what's on the signs and all that, and it just looks far better than any other console we've seen that this game has been on. Random events can occur in the GTA 5 story mode and in GTA Online, and they do have a little bit of differences. So in like story mode, you have to like directly help pedestrians get like their belongings back, their cars, you know, anything like that that is directly involved with the person you're helping. But then in online, you pretty much just do stuff that benefits you. You can like help a gas station get the money back, or you can steal the money yourself. You can rob like bank trucks or deliver exported vehicles, or exotic vehicles rather. And this can happen at random times in story mode and in online. Money glitches have been a part of GTA Online pretty much ever since it had released, and there is tons and tons of videos that cover money glitches. A lot of them have been patched, so if you look at one that was uploaded like 4 years ago, it probably does not work anymore. If you're unaware what a money glitch is, essentially you can get millions and millions of dollars with very little effort, whereas it'll take you many hours of grinding the game just to get that money that you earned in like less than 5 minutes. So sharks serve as a way of the boundary of the game. So if you go too far out in the ocean, there's going to be a red dot that appears on your map, and it's just going to be a shark there that'll take you out. Even when you have God mode with a mod menu, these still kill you anyway. So it's kind of like something you can't really overcome. Clickbaiting is another vague entry on this list that I didn't really quite know what they were talking about, but in terms of the game itself, there's different advertisements on the websites, billboards, all that show off things that are in the game that you can't actually access, like food items. You can't purchase any of those. But in terms of like YouTube, there's a lot of clickbait going around for GTA Online and GTA 5, and the one I'm showing you is Mr. Boss for the win. He clickbaits GTA 6 all the time, daily videos, sometimes even I think twice a day, and a lot of it isn't even true either, because we haven't had official confirms of this game in quite a long time. So all the videos you see of him are clickbait, and then there's other videos of like how to get secret rare cars that are all just completely bullshit. So Easter eggs are pretty much in every game, and this game obviously has a lot of them. There can be references to like celebrities, past GTA games, a lot of mystery behind like Mount Chiliad, for instance. There's just so many Easter eggs packed into this game that I can't really cover all of them, but of course there's still going to be some that I cover later on in this video. We made it to level 2 of the Iceberg, and to start this we have Michael's Epsilon missions. So once you unlock Michael in the story mode, you go on the phone into the in-game website and type in Epsilon in the search bar, go to the first result, and then fill out the survey that is kind of strange. Asks you some really weird questions, it's always going to be the same, but once you finally fill out that survey, there's going to be a question mark that appears on your map, you go to it, and it'll start a series of missions that are very strange, because Epsilon in this game is actually like a cult following, so there's just a lot of weird things involving in it. Clifford is an AI neural network that is created by Avon Hertz, which is kind of like a reference to Elon Musk, and you could refer to this AI as a he if you want to. He was introduced in the Doomsday Heist as a supporting character, but later on was revealed to be the secondary antagonist of the Doomsday Heist. And a brief description of what this AI was created for is to take over the world of GTA 5. There was many different robots that were controlled by this guy, and during the Doomsday Heist, you were trying to destroy all of the different files that were tied to him to completely erase him. Now, I don't know what they meant by mods specifically in here, because since it's story mode exclusive for this entry, I'm assuming they're talking about the cheat codes you can do. So if you have a controller, like I do right here, you can click the buttons in a certain order and it can spawn like cars in front of you, or it could spawn like special effects for your character like invincibility, explosive rounds for your weapons, or anything like that. You could also enter the phone number code, or I guess the series of numbers inside your phone contacts, and it'll spawn a car or explosive rounds for weapons, anything like that. Now I have mod menu. This is pretty much like the last entry, except you can do way more. When you have a mod menu, you can change the time, the weather, spawn in cars, change what your character looks like, all that stuff. Now these are primarily used in story mode, because if you use it online, you more than likely just get banned if Rockstar actually, went to that effort. So GTA 5 expanded and enhanced. I had mentioned this earlier in the old gen entry and level 1. This was exclusive to PS5 and Xbox Series X and S during 2022. And this added a whole bunch of things to those consoles, like HSW cars that made them go extremely fast, graphical changes of course. You can now switch to different online sessions in your current online session, so as before, you're in invite only, you had to go to story mode and then switch to a different session, whereas now you can just hop from session to session at will. Made like loading times better, made the controls smoother, pretty much everything in the game was just a quality of life update just to make your life better. But of course, this was not available for any of the old gen consoles or even PC, which is kind of absurd. So there are UFOs all over the GTA 5 map. The one I'm showing off is on Mount Chiliad. You have to 100% the story mode, change like the weather to like stormy or foggy or whatever, and be there at like 3 a.m. and you'll see a UFO spawning. There's also one above Fort Zancudo, one above a hippie camp, one underwater. Last year during October, there was a bunch of them spawning around the map for like a weapon you can unlock. And there's just a lot of mystery tied to UFOs in this game. The Bigfoot, which is also known as the Sasquatch in GTA 5, is of course like a myth, if you will. It's a myth in real life. It's also a myth in GTA San Andreas. And for a while, people were confused as to how you find this guy, because I believe in the story mode, there's a mission where you are really close to taking out Bigfoot, but then it's just revealed that it's just a guy wearing a disguise. But during the first mission of the game, when you're driving on the road to escape the cops, you can actually turn off the road, and under a bridge, there is an alien stuck under the ice. I believe this is just an Easter egg and not anything else. It's not tied to like some mystery or anything. It's kind of like the UFOs. They add like the aliens to the game just to be cool, I guess. A cool find. So GTA 5 and GTA Online are definitely not immune to any glitches, and this is especially true for the wall breaches around the map. Not every single place has these, but you can like go inside of walls and be like immune to players and cops and all that, and get to places that you're not allowed to be at. I believe if you do these in online, you'll instantly die the second you get inside the wall breach, but in story mode, you can do any of the wall breaches that you can find. So snow for GTA Online comes around once a year, I think for like a week or two during the Christmas update, and it just serves as a purpose to be Christmas themed, nothing else. So anyone that has done the MCSL missions knows exactly what this entry is for. Whenever you do these, you sometimes can get vans. Sometimes I can say that planes are also a really bad cell mission. These are just really, really terribly designed missions. It doesn't make any sense why they'd include missions like this that take so long for minimal amount of money in today's terms. So Rockstar being Rockstar, they have so many dirty and adult jokes all over this game. Just these couple of signs here that I'm showing off, not every single one. There's just so many different jokes scattered throughout the game that if you just look somewhere, look at the signs, you're always just going to see one of them at least. Trey is one of the many celebrities in this game, probably the most recognizable and iconic celebrity in this game. He looks the most like himself, I guess you could say. There was a hint to him in Cayo Perico when that came out in 2020. I believe the cutscene to when you were leaving to Cayo Perico, and then he was introduced in 2021 during the agency where he was the main focus. You were trying to get his unreleased music back from the guy that stole it. Similar to the wall breaches I mentioned earlier, launch glitches have been around since the start of the game, where it pretty much was just a glitch to send your car really high in the air and just kind of a good time. Like if you've played really any game that has a glitch that sends you flying in the air, it's always just fun to look at that. Unfortunately, Rockstar patches almost every single one of these, so you really can't find one. The only one that I know that still works relatively well is the one I'm showing in the gameplay, where you have to have some tanks, and you mess with this gate near the beach. But either way, it's really hard to find any launch glitches anymore. It's now time for level 3, and to start this off, we have the Beasts Free Mode event. Now this will make a little bit more sense once we get to level 5 of this video, why this makes any sense, but this is actually a reference to a story mode event that can happen, where when you get all the golden peyote plants around the map during specific days, you use yourself being Bigfoot and have to fight a beast. In GTA Online, it's not really that cool. You could either turn into the beast when this starts, you have to collect checkpoints around the map, or you have to hunt down whoever is the beast, and then you become the beast, and then you have to collect the checkpoints. The Mount Chiliad mystery, I mentioned it earlier, and this is probably the biggest mystery in GTA 5. But to break it down for you, there is the 3 things at the bottom. The jetpack was added to the game in like 2017 with the Doomsday heist, so that doesn't really make sense. The UFO on the left, well, we had an event like that in October of last year where you got abducted by UFOs and it sent you to these weird bases underground, but that was just to get a unique weapon that you no longer can get. And then the alien egg, there hasn't really been anything added that refers to the alien egg at all. I think there might be like some special cargo with the CEO building or something that has an alien egg, but there hasn't been significance to this part of the mural yet, so I'm not really sure. Children of the Mountain was one of the entries I actually had no idea existed in this game. But if you go on the phone, in story mode, I think you have to be Franklin, and you put in the search bar Divine, the first thing that pops up, and you have to do another survey, and it's kind of strange. But once you do go through all of that, you have to like unscramble these words. You can just look up the answer, but you don't actually have enough time to finish all the unscrambling. And after that, you just get a bunch of different weird pages that have just some weird sentences and weird descriptions to things. It was actually quite amusing reading all of it, and I'm not going to do that right now because it just takes too long, but read more into it. It's actually quite enjoyable to read this. The amount of effort that Rockstar goes into for some of these websites that no one knows about, pretty cool. So I believe early in the game, the Space Docker was thought of to be like part of the Mount Chiliad mystery or something like that, but no. It is just a car you can unlock. In story mode, you have to collect all the 50 of the spaceship parts and then you get this vehicle, but in online, you have to get Arena War level 500, which can take you like thousands of hours to get, and it's regarded as impossible because no one actually plays Arena anymore. But overall, the car is pretty unique. The color scheme, the sound of it, the horn that it has, it all just makes a very unique vehicle. And the Rusty Tractor is kind of similar to the Space Docker. You can just find it at the Lighthouse in story mode and in online, but if you actually want to own it in online, you have to reach Arena War level 1000, which can take thousands of hours to get, and again is regarded as nearly impossible to get. So the whale skeleton, I believe at some point early in the game, people had thought this was like a sea monster, and if you just search it up, it's just a whale skeleton. I think this was just added for more detail in the game and doesn't actually serve any purpose. But the underwater hatch does serve a purpose. This is found really deep in the water, and I think if you're trying to reach this just a normal way, no mods or anything, and you get close to it, it will eventually kill you because it's at crushing depth, I believe. But if you get close enough to it and hear the tapping, which is a really long sequence, I think it's like a minute or two long, it is a reference to GTA 4, where Roman calls Nico and says, "Hey, you never call, how do you fancy going bowling?" So everyone knows that this is just common knowledge if you played story mode, but Amanda, being Michael's wife, is actually a stripper, or was a stripper rather. There's many different hints throughout the story that refer to her as being a stripper in her past life, or I guess in the past. But then eventually Michael just straight up says that she was, and if that isn't enough, on her car's license plate, it says Crystal, which was her stripper name, and then there's also pictures around the map of a stripper that says Amanda on the bottom right, which could be her, but maybe not. I don't see the resemblance, but it probably is Amanda. The Infinity Killer is one of the deepest pieces of lore in this game, I could argue. You can really start this at anywhere around the map, but I started at a shack where it has different writing around it saying that there will be 8 or something like that, and then the 8 spin on its side and it says Infinity because it's the Infinity Killer. You can see some shoes hanging up on the ceiling, and these probably belong to a young kid, which is really unfortunate. But then you can also find like 8s all across rocks, and there's like a long description on one of the rocks too that say from 1 to 8 about like bodies or something. It's really weird. You could also find a bunch of dead bodies at Polito Bay, just north of it, and then you could also find this like piece of newspaper inside of a burned down building that talks about the people that were killed. It goes really deep. If you of course want to learn more about it, link in the description of course. The Golden Tree was another thing that I had no idea existed, but I think it's just a graphical issue. Near Mount Gordo at night, you can just find this tree that's a lot more golden than the other ones. Again, it's just a graphical issue. I don't think it has any significance. But also on Mount Gordo, you can find a ghost. The time has to be, I believe, around like midnight to 3 a.m. And right below the ghost, it says Jack. And there's a whole story behind this girl. I didn't go too in detail with it, so if you want to look more into it, you probably can. I probably should have, but this entry didn't have anything besides just ghost. So I'm assuming it's talking about this. So self-radio is something that I don't really know what it's supposed to be, because in the wiki it says that it's something you can't remove or anything like that. So I don't know if you can actually listen to this or if it's supposed to be like the iFruit app in your radio wheel or the media player. I don't know what it's supposed to be. And the year that had really changed this for the worse is 2018 when the Oppressor Mark II was added. This pretty much turned GTA Online on its head. It flipped it upside down. Everybody used the Oppressor Mark II, not even for a good reason. It is a really good vehicle to use to get around, but it was just Griefer's best friend. Everyone used it to kill each other. It was just not a good time. And when this released, GTA Online was at like one of its lowest player counts it had ever seen. So unique special cargo is something you can get while you're doing special cargo for the warehouse. And these are really uncommon to come across. You can get like a golden minigun, a Bigfoot hide, you can get like a film reel, I think even an alien egg, which might be a reference to the mural. You can get all these different unique special cargo, which is just, I think, another Easter egg type of thing that don't really serve a purpose to really anything. But they do sell for like 10 times the amount that normal cargo sells for. In the story mode, you'll come across this golden retriever, or Franklin will, and this is actually a ghost dog. It doesn't actually exist. It is just a dog, I think, leading Franklin to Dom. Franklin ends up finding Dom on the dam, and this guy is a skydiver. He ends up jumping without a parachute and ends up dying. Gore in the GTA 5 web. Now, this is kind of disturbing. I don't know, outside of the website that I'm showing in the video, I might have to even blur this because it is kind of brutal. I don't know any other websites that have something like this, but if you're curious as to what it is that I'm showing, type in God on the search bar for this website or in the game and just scroll through the website. It'll tell you to play God. It shows a dead family. So, yeah. The middle finger mouse icon, this is just kind of Rockstar being Rockstar. It is a rated 18+ game, so the mouse cursor is just flipping you off anytime that you go to click on something. Alright, so when I mentioned Bigfoot earlier in level 2, here we have the golden peyote. This is how you actually become Bigfoot. In order to get the golden peyote, I think you have to 100% the game and get every single peyote plant around the map, all 27. And then at certain times of the day in-game, doesn't have to be real life days, you can find golden peyote plants. And once you find one, you just eat it and you turn into Bigfoot. If you've ever had the problem of NPCs crashing into you on purpose, well, you're not really alone on that. Of course, everyone's really experienced it. Actually, turns out from a video I watched, you gotta go watch it, it was really in detail. The NPCs aren't coded to actually crash into you. In instances of the game that you can't actually see because it's literally milliseconds, the NPCs see something in front of them that you don't see, so it causes them to swerve around it, and it just seems like they're just trying to hit you. But then other times, you're in a mission, for instance, and it always feels like they're trying to hit you there. But a lot of the time you have enemies chasing you and gunfire scares NPCs. And you can kind of think of it as the video described. The NPCs that are chasing you kind of have like a force field around them. So anytime the NPCs enter that force field, they get scared and start hitting you. And it's not really what you think it is. So go watch that video and you'll see what I mean by the NPCs don't actually crash into you on purpose. So the rapid fire glitch is an interesting glitch where it involves a revolver. I'll have a link to the video of how to actually do it. Give you my description on it. You have to have the revolver out, make sure it's pointing upwards like your character is AFK. You shoot and pull out your weapon wheel at the same time, and then you'll see the revolver shoot upwards. And then you have to empty all the bullets out of it until the very last one. And then once you shoot the last one, it'll shoot like 200 rounds instantly. So Loch Ness Monster is actually Scottish folklore and said to inhabit the Loch Ness in Scotland, whatever that is. And this is obviously in the GTA games as well. I know it's in GTA 4 in like a museum with the bones, but in GTA 5, you can see this at a very rare instance. But when you're doing like Cayo Perico, I believe, entering the island or exiting the island, you can see the Loch Ness Monster. You can't get close to it because it'll immediately die from the water. And I don't think it has any significance besides just being a cool Easter egg. So within the game, you could call these secret phone numbers that will give you different responses depending on which one you call, of course. The one I called in the game gave you some really weird music that you'd hear in like a horror game or something. And go try it for yourself. Just look up secret phone numbers in this game, try some of them out, and see what result you end up getting. So this is another one that I had no idea existed, but it is in GTA Online, in the nightclub. So if you go inside the bathroom of your nightclub and tip the guy in there $577, which does take about 20 minutes to do, you'll end up unlocking the Epsilon robes, because this guy, I think, is part of the Epsilon cult, because when you're giving him the money, he says Kiflam, which the Epsilon cult members say. So this one could just be the problems that GTA Online has had over the years with the security issues. The most notable one that recently happened that I can remember is people were using the Diamond Casino heist to like hack into your PC, which I have no idea how they even do that. But there has been so many different problems with GTA Online over the years that Rockstar just seems to not know how to fix these, which obviously I can't blame them, I don't make games, but it took them 12 years to finally add an anti-cheat that doesn't even really work. So outside of this mission having just really terrifying juggernauts that are sleeping, and I remember the first time doing this, it scared the shit out of me seeing them. When you're doing the Doomsday heist originally, you were trying to completely delete Clifford off the face of GTA 5, but he ended up still being alive. But during 2022, when they added ULP missions, this was the one where you finally deleted the last remaining data of him. Criminal Mastermind is something that I thought would be common knowledge, but essentially what you have to do, it only works for the original 5 heists or Doomsday heist. You have to complete all of them in order, all the setups and the heist, in order without dying with the exact same team. And you're rewarded, the original heist like $12 million, and then you can do it with 2-player, 3-player, or 4-player Doomsday, and I don't know the payouts for that, but it is one of the hardest challenges in this entire game. So looking more into removed music in this game, there was someone on Reddit that said that there was a song removed from like the space radio or something, which is the most out there thing ever. I don't know of any other instances that music has been removed, but the simple answer to this is licensing issues, or I guess not really issues, but just the licensing itself. Essentially what that means is companies will buy a license for music in their game that'll last for a certain amount of time. You can think of like Forza Horizon, the racing games, if you don't know what they are. They have a licensing to be able to have all those cars in the game, but then they eventually shut down those games because the licensing is too expensive to keep that game running. So this entry didn't really make a whole lot of sense to me until I remembered the Hydra had a speed glitch. I will be really terrible at explaining this, so again, a link in the description to the Hydra speed glitch if you want. But when you do the speed glitch with the Hydra, it is literally the fastest thing in the game. You can get across the entire map in less than a minute, or maybe even like 30 seconds. So the tsunami is something I wasn't quite sure what they were referencing to in here. It could have either been all the clickbait videos of tsunamis happening in GTA 5, which is just mods. There's no tsunami in this game that ever happened. When I looked it up, there's actually a store called Tsunami. That's as far as it goes. So OG Locke was one of like the main protagonists of San Andreas, and there's a reference to him, well, multiple times throughout GTA 5, but the biggest one is through the agency of the receptionist that says this quote.
So yesterday I get this call. Squeakiest fucking gangster you ever heard asking for Mr. Clinton. I was like, Jeffrey? Turns out he still gets pissed when you call him that. I remember working the door for him back in the 90s. Now look where he's at. I hope he swings by sometime.
So KD has always been like a touchy subject for a lot of people in this game. If you're a KD warrior, you love KD. But with people that actually know the point of this game, KD doesn't make a whole lot of sense because it's not Call of Duty. About 3 years ago, or 2.5 years ago by this point, KD was removed from this game. You can still see it when you go to the player list, but the KD doesn't go up or down. The only way to change it is if you actually go into death matches where the purpose is to get your KD up or down. It'll go up and down then. Oh boy, the topless female character. Now, if you have ever had a female character that has nothing on the top, which is something that you can't traditionally get without like a mod or a glitch, you'll see that their nipples are purple or blue, whatever. And I'm not sure why this is the case, because if you get a lap dance from a stripper at the strip club, theirs look normal. So why does the online character look like this? I don't really know. But throughout the many weeks that GTA Online has been around, Rockstar occasionally does rare clothing you can get that is limited time. So like Christmas clothing, Halloween clothing, all that stuff. Even just like random t-shirts or pants they include in like challenges during some weeks, you can unlock the rare clothing. I don't know if this specific entry is talking about like extremely rare clothing that 0% of the player base has, but a lot of the rare clothing does come from like occasional events that happen. the Savage, when it released, the hitbox of it when you lock on with a homing missile was a lot lower than it is now. So if you're in the Savage and a missile was shot at you, a lot of the time the missile would actually go under you because of how the hitbox works. But now it has been fixed to where the hitbox is like in the middle of the Savage. Increased grenade slot ammo. This also does apply to sticky bombs and proximity mines, I believe. Everyone will have access to 25 at the max when you first start out the game, but if you have the shooting range with the bunker and complete all the different challenges tied to it, you will unlock more slot ammo for the grenades and the sticky bombs and proximity mines, I believe. And tear gas, forgot about that. So earlier when I mentioned the golden peyote, this is where that comes into play. In-game, not real life days, Sunday through Saturday, you can get different golden peyote plants across the map, and once you get it on Saturday, I believe, you have to use Bigfoot and listen to sounds that the beast makes, and you have to find different, like, dead animals, bodies, a wrecked car, and eventually when you get to the plane yard, you have to fight the beast. I tried to do this myself, and it was taking so long, and I had to get all the other entries finished, that I just gave up on it, so I'm using someone else's video. Of course, all the credits in the description. This tattoo that I'm showing right here is actually the rarest tattoo in the entire game. This is going to take you a long time to get if you want to. Now right here, this is what it says, so I'm not 100% certain if this is the case because it takes so long to get it that I don't even want to attempt to get it myself. But it says here to get this, you have to do the bunker resupply 666 times and get the special alien resupply mission, which has a crashed UFO and all that stuff. And then you have to drink a Macbeth shot at the nightclub between 1 a.m. and 4 a.m. when it's storming or snowing outside. And then you get a small chance to get abducted and then get that tattoo. So this one has a really easy answer where every week Rockstar drip feeds vehicles, so over the course of the update weeks, they're going to occasionally drop like 1 or 2 vehicles, and that's pretty much what this means. Or sometimes could be outfits. So I do remember seeing stuff like this myself when I'm playing the game, but I couldn't recreate it. But some players have seen like cloud oddities, where the clouds look really weird and sometimes make certain shapes, but I believe it's just the game kind of breaking, and it coincidentally makes a shape that could be referring to something else, but in reality I think it is just the game not rendering correctly. Now I mentioned before that we're supposed to completely clear all the data of Clifford in the Doomsday Heist and the ULP missions, but towards the end of the ULP mission I talked about earlier, you actually give a phone containing still some Clifford data to ULP, which is not a good thing because Clifford still actually exists in the game, but we don't know what actually happened to him. Now I couldn't find anything about this chiliadmystery.com. I tried looking for it in the game. I tried looking for it outside of the game, and I don't know what this is referring to. Maybe it is just the Wikipedia page that I was using for an earlier entry. I don't really know. The only thing I found about the easy way out message is that when you're loading into the game, it tells you as like a tip for the game if you want to take the easy way out. Outside of that, in case you're wondering where the easy way out actually went, because in this screenshot it says RIP 2023, they actually moved the easy way out. So if you pause and go to online and then the options tab, which I barely even realized is there, that's where you can take the easy way out. So I'm not really sure why they changed it there. If you ever find yourself doing the Avenger Master Terminal missions or something like that, there's one of those that involves you grabbing this weird alien device. And this is actually a reference to San Andreas. I'm not going to pretend like I know what I'm talking about when it comes to this device, but I saw a picture where CJ hands what I could presume his name is Omega, or maybe that's just GTA. GTA 5, I'm not really sure. But this is just straight up a reference to GTA San Andreas. Now, I don't know if this is in the game anymore, if it's just story mode or online, whatever it may be, but really high up in the sky towards the right of the map, there is a, well, I guess you could just say a one-dimensional square that says this does not exist. I think this is just an accidental development issue that they had. I'm pretty sure this is removed from the game, but it doesn't serve any purpose. Now for this, I actually couldn't find anything about Pavel 1-0. Now, memory serves me correctly, I believe during the Agents of Sabotage intro cutscene to the garment factory, he mentions something about 1-0, but even looking into it, I couldn't find anything. So let me know if there's something to this that I'm not seeing. Now this entry is actually true. The flak cannon on, I believe, the anti-aircraft trailer, and I don't know if it's on any other vehicle, but I know for sure it's on this. This does have the highest damage output. Now in terms of just raw damage from one shot, the orbital cannon is the strongest thing in the game, but because this can shoot as many times as you want, this does have the highest damage output in the entire game. The Stealth Annihilator actually has, don't know if it still does, the same problem the Savage had where the hitbox was actually a lot lower than where the helicopter actually is. So a lot of the time you could just easily dodge rockets. And I'm assuming that it specifies the Chernobog rockets only because the Chernobog has the longest lock-on range and the longest missile duration. So if you shoot one, it'll last the longest out of any aircraft or anything like that. But either way, this can apply to really anything that has homing rockets. Now, I couldn't really find anything about this. I know these paint jobs are on weapons, specifically Mark II weapons if you go to the tints, I believe. I don't know why these are on here. I don't know if they have like some specific way to unlock them or if they're like a mystery or something, but they're just weapon tints. Now, I'm going to answer this straight up. No, you cannot go to the N on the mini-map. This serves as like the north marker. So if you have a compass, it always points north or has north on it, so you can know what direction's which. And that's as far as it goes. I believe there was some like Easter egg behind it, like, oh, can you reach to the end? And you would reach like the island where that family that was dead on the website that I mentioned earlier, that's where they died. But no. Now this shirt, similar to the tattoo from earlier, I believe what this is a reference to GTA 6 somehow. I think the strand of numbers refers to like a GTA 6 release date or something along those lines. I don't remember. Maybe it was a release date to the first trailer of the game, since this shirt has been around for that long. Now, inside of Sandy Shores, you can find these different arrows that point towards the motel in the game, and it doesn't really lead to anything. The motel has always been like a mystery, having so many weird things around it. But there isn't really an answer to why these red arrows lead specifically to the motel. So trying to search for where this actually is on the map, this underwater alien egg, isn't actually an egg at all. I think someone said that it's just like a giant clam. But if anyone knows where this is, I'd like to check it out myself to see if this is actually a giant clam or maybe alien egg. I'm not really sure. Now, this one was kind of interesting. So, Chrome paint job oddities, what this is, from the gameplay you're seeing, the reflection of chrome doesn't really show correctly, like it'll have some things invisible. So when this iceberg was made, the alien base under Fort Zancudo could have been a reference to the UFO that's above Fort Zancudo. But I believe this was answered during last year in October. Getting abducted by an UFO would send you into a base under Fort Zancudo where you had to unlock that special weapon. So it is true. There is an alien base under Fort Zancudo. So what this is referring to is the absurd homing missiles on the SAM battery where they will never miss their target. And this is also true for like the Reno 2000 missiles. They're the best tracking ones in the entire game and they never miss. You can see that in the gameplay. Sometimes the SAM battery ones, when they chase a helicopter and they miss, they'll circle around until they hit their target. This marks the end of this video. If you enjoyed, let me know if I should do another one of these. This was actually quite fun, but I don't want to do the same one that other people do, so I tried to choose one that not others have done before. But either way, hope you enjoyed. If you've got any other great ideas I should try, let me know as well. And you don't got to subscribe or like or anything like that. As long as you just stick around for the end of the video, that's all I really care about. But I'll let you guys get back to whatever you're doing. Hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out, everybody. I love every single one of you.